Back to the pleb underground, or the signal without the slop. We're going to take a look at some pretty important stories today. Let's dive into it. Big news from China's biggest treasury company. Of course, we're going to take a look at the chart. Of course, we're going to dismantle it just a little bit. Bitcoin gets an ally at the Fed. Yeah, we're going to take a look at that. Free speech under attack. Ministry of Truth vibes? I think so. Santander embraces Bitcoin. And are you surprised by our stablecoin president? You shouldn't be. Tether. It's Tether's turn to make a Bitcoin ad, and we're going to take a look at that. And guys, I've got a hopium chart. Okay, a hopium chart from the Angry Chihuahua. This is a chart that he's been looking for years. And I'm not going to lie, this hopium chart might just melt your face. Just saying. Might just melt your face. Anyways, we're going to dive into all that good stuff. But before we do, you know the deal. We're going to show some love to the Pleb Underground sponsor. And we are going to be right back to dive into all the fun and drama. Let's do it.
Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium.
Okay, let's dive right into it. Here we go. So, Chinese Bitcoin treasury firm Next Technology plans to sell 500 million of stock to buy Bitcoin. Asia is coming, and of course, we've got the Bitcoin logo. There you go. That's fun stuff. Yeah, we're going to take a little bit closer of a look at this company. Not just this stuff, but anyways, here we go. So they filed for a shelf registration that would let the company offer up to 500 million of common stock. And reports say some of the money could be used to buy more Bitcoin. Could be. Based on reports and regulatory filings, NXTT, or I think it's NXTT. Yeah, NXTT records show it holds 5,833 Bitcoin with a book value of roughly $480 million. Okay, so let's just for the sake of it, we're gonna do the thing where we go take a look at the chart, and we just go and take a look at the a quick snapshot of their financials. So here we go. Let's take a look. So shareholders have been substantially diluted in the past year. It doesn't surprise me, right? They had to raise capital. I don't care about the volatility in the share price like that. That to me is just nonsense, right? Because volatility is opportunity. High level of non-cash earnings, i.e., Bitcoin holdings, and does not have meaningful revenue. So $2 million or less. Anyways, look, that doesn't mean that they can't grow it, right? To be fair. However, this is where we get into the red flags. Ugh. Yeah, this is where it gets a little bit muddy here. So let's get ready, guys. That's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Okay, so this is the monthly chart, right? Every single one of these candles that you see is 1 month of movements. And in case you didn't understand what you're looking at something that is relatively flat over time since 2020. Now, what is to me always most interesting, okay, I don't even care about the rest. I just look at some really basic things. They did a reverse split in at the right before July in 2023. Okay. They did a reverse share split, 1 for 185. So if you had 185 shares, you woke up the next morning and you had 1 share. Okay. And they do this again to keep their index memberships. This is always a major red flag. I know that, and I noticed none of the Bitcoin cheerleaders talk about this, right? They just sit there and they pepper the conversation with share buybacks and look at how much Bitcoin they hold and think of all of the debt instruments that they can create. When businesses are doing reverse splits, it's because they're dying. Okay? They're dying. Anyways, doesn't mean they all die, but it means that they're dying. Okay. And then the best part was, right? In what was it? Just look at that. Just yesterday. Just yesterday, they did a 1 for 200. So if you survived the first reverse split of 1 share for 185, they now just did a 1 for 200. So let's say you had 200 shares. You're going to wake up now and you're going to have 1 share. And of course, right, the share price, you take a look at it, it's like trading at like $23. So you think it to yourself, you're like, oh, well, it's probably pretty decent. They have less than $2 million of revenue. What the hell are you paying $23 a share for this? For the future hope, right? The future hope. Anyways, all of this to say, just freaking buy Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, instead of playing these games, I just buy Bitcoin. Because guess what? You can't control the boards of directors. You just can't. Okay. And if you don't have enough shares, your votes pretty much don't mean anything. But anyways, all right. Let's continue on. We are going to take a look. Yeah, all right. So some brighter news, guys. Some brighter news. Here we go. Stephen Moran has been confirmed by the Senate to join the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. And indeed, he has said some positive things about Bitcoin. August 18th, 2023, he posted the meme. He did the thing, right? He said, Bitcoin fixes this. And then again, he stated he thinks that crypto has a big role potentially to play in innovation and ushering in another Trump administration economic boom. So it's always about politics, isn't it? It's so bad, but it's like you kind of just wish that some person would stand there and just talk about their own individual incentives, right? Without doing the thing that they need to do to get the job. Anyways, look, I guess the net positive bros can just feel better about the fact that he said Bitcoin fixes this and he likes Bitcoin. All right, we'll take it. We will take it. So I don't know if you guys saw this video of Pam Bondi having this conversation here, but we're going to put this up for a second. And I got to tell you, I'm not getting the warm and fuzzies from this. Like, this is not what I want to be hearing.
And then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
Okay. So, free speech. Free speech is very uncomfortable, right? Because people are going to say things that you don't agree with. People are going to say things that might make you angry. And, granted, we can sit there and say, oh, well, that person's ignorant, and I mean, I'm including myself in this, right? I say the same thing, this person's stupid or this person's ignorant and whatnot. However, it's very important that we actually have free speech. And I may disagree with what they're saying. In all fairness, a person may be expounding hate speech even towards me. And as much as I hate what they're saying, the importance of having that freedom is, to me, like that is the only thing that actually matters, because I don't think we really understand how depraved and insane the how could I say this? The marker starts to slide, right? Like the goalposts start to shift. So at the beginning, right? At the beginning, it seems like, oh yeah, we're stopping the most hateful speech. But then all of a sudden, what happens? The definition begins to expand. Okay. And when the definition expands, all of a sudden, maybe what you're saying gets caught in the net. Maybe what you didn't think was hate speech is now turning out to become hate speech. Okay. And that is a very slippery slope. Okay. Words are not violence. They may hurt. Okay. But at the same time, when a person gets hurt by what somebody else is saying, it's a difficult thing to do, but it might be an opportunity to examine your own feelings at that moment and why you feel that way, right? Like oftentimes, like when somebody says something that not even that I don't agree with, but just something incredibly mean, something that I deem as, racist or something like that. I try to focus on, okay, well, what is it about, what was I thinking that made me react this way? Right? It's like, because at the end of the day, I cannot control that person. And the desire to control that person leads to tyranny. This is what always, right? When you desire to control other people, this is not the right thing, right? True self-mastery is self-control. And that, to me, like that is the best thing that I can strive for. Anyways, I am not looking forward to a Ministry of Truth future. I hope to God that this type of stuff does not come to pass. This is a very slippery slope. And just remember, it'll always be sugar-coated in the greater good. It's going to be sugar-coated in ways of, right? You got to protect people. It's going to be sugar-coated in ways to obviously, protect the children, protect the weakest of society and all of this stuff. Guys, once we lose free speech, okay, when we lose this, it becomes absolutely horrendous. And if you have not read enough dystopian material to see where this leads, I suggest that you possibly start looking into that, because free speech, that is the first thing, right? Like you can see it. You can already see it with things like gun laws, right? So slowly but surely, you get to the point where you can't protect yourself. You can't say what you want. I mean, look, Canadians, I saw the video, right? Canadians are being told to just let criminals do what they want to do, don't cause a problem, and let them leave once they're done. So you can't even protect yourself. Like, what is that? It's nuts. Anyways, okay, sorry. And Roman, you're absolutely right. In the end, yep, they're still going to take your guns. I talked about this in Canada with the gun registry, right? I remember when that first came out in the 90s. I think it was the 90s, late 90s or early 2000s. $3 billion a year. Who the hell do you think registered their guns? You think it was the guy that was going to go out and rob a store? No, it's the hunter, the guy that goes to hunt on the weekend, right? He goes up there up north. Like during fall, and he goes to hunt, and he's like, oh, I want to be able to hunt, so I'm going to register my gun. It's like, it's not the criminals that are registering their guns. Anyways, okay, sorry. This stuff really gets to me. Free speech, it's, to me, like, this is the domino, right? Like, this is the domino. Once that free speech domino falls, it's going to get really bad. Okay, sorry, guys. Sorry, I'll stop. Okay, next. All right. Santander, that's right. Or as I like to call them, Scamtander. Santander, that's right. They are launching Bitcoin and crypto trading for retail clients in Germany. And of course, what are you going to be able to buy, sell, and hold? Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Polygon, Cardano, alongside their other investments. It's pretty decent. I guess I've never heard of Open Bank, even though I know Santander very well. They used to be Sovereign Bank, and Santander bought over Sovereign. They were like a New England bank. Anyways, so Open Bank customers in Germany are going to be able to use it, but it's going to be rolled out in Spain in the coming weeks. Let's see how much activity they actually get. I'm still... I don't know. I don't know how much the average person really wants exposure to this yet. I'm not 100% sure, but look, step in the right direction, so to speak. Obviously, it's going to be through a third-party institution. So any imagination that you might have about self-custody or something like that, I don't see that happening. Look, banks obviously want you to keep their assets with them, right? They obviously want to be the gatekeepers. Oh yeah, hey Corbin, banks are going to take and steal any. Yes, absolutely. Right? Yeah, I agree. And ACP, I don't think you're going to be able to withdraw. And you'll see people are going to ask for it. People are definitely going to ask for it, but I don't think you're going to be able to withdraw. And yeah, Yeah, I can't disagree with that. It's kind of the everything is good for Bitcoin. I guess it's the same thing as, bad publicity is still good publicity. So anyways, whatever. I guess our takeaway could be that the banks are slowly bending the knee under the impression that they are going to control this, right? Because they've always been able to control everything when it comes to finances and investments. So why not be able to control this as well, right? Anyways, okay. Moving on from Santander, let's see what we got. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. We're barely allowed to withdraw USD anymore. I'm not going to lie. I haven't gone to withdraw more than probably like $500 in I don't know how long. Seriously, like I just, everything is just done through, I have automated payments for a lot of things, right? And in most cases, it sounds terrible, but I don't use cash, so. That's an interesting one. Why do they speak hatefully of hate speech and not something? I don't know. Oh God. I appreciate that take though. That's interesting. Okay. All right. Okay, let's move on. I know the comments are good though. I love all the comments. All right, last comment and then we'll continue. So it's the perfect scam. You buy Cardano and get a loan from them with Cardano as collateral and use that to buy Bitcoin. We're going to bankrupt them in 5 years, boys. Okay, Yellow. I'll take it. Why not? All right, moving on. Let's see here. What do we got next? Yes. So, I'm going to take a look at some Trump stuff. I always like the Trump stuff. Okay. I'm not surprised by this. If you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you're not surprised by this either. At all, right? Donald Trump is not the Bitcoin president. He's the stablecoin president, seeking to expand monetary power and borrowing capacity of the U.S. government. And if you think, if you think that this is nonsense, we're going to go back here and take a look at some articles, things that Trump has said. Right, this was back in 2018 and in 2020. Okay, the dollar will get stronger and stronger. And ultimately, I want to see a strong dollar, right? This was, that's comments from Donald Trump. Here's another one, right? Where he's not worried about the strength of the dollar. Number one, I don't like to talk about it because frankly, nobody should be talking about it. It should be what it is. It should also be based on the strength of the country. And Bloomberg, right? This is back in 2024. If I'm elected, right before he was elected, the dollar is so secure. Your reserve currency is the strongest it will ever be if he's elected. So, to the people that, that watched him on stage at the Bitcoin conference, right? And he's going to let you play with your Bitcoin. Of course, he's going to let you play with your Bitcoin. Of course. Because all of this is in the walled garden, right? It's perfectly fantastic to do all of this. But we're going to make the USD stronger. Now, I've said this before. This is just part of the then they fight you stage. It's no different, right? Like this is the government, this is the institutions attempting to shoehorn Bitcoin into their current framework, right? And yeah, absolutely, shitcoin president, 100%. I think there's no doubt. Nailed it. It's no surprise, right? It is really no surprise because what advantage is there really for the US to go and embrace Bitcoin in a way that reduces the power of the US dollar? There's no benefit to the government for that. The benefit to the government is always to increase its ability to enforce violence and to strengthen its dollar, or at the very least, export its debt to other nations, which in turn strengthens the dollar, or at least the perception of the dollar. So this is, obviously unsurprising. But yeah, just always like to remind people that's what it is. All right, moving on. Let's go take a look. We've got Tether. You gotta love what Tether did. Yeah. If you didn't know about this one yet, right? 1.5 billion in Tether linked to Iran sanctions evasion seized by Israel. 187 wallets targeted, 39 blacklisted by Tether. And don't forget, right? USAT is about to come out, right? This special USD Tether dollar. And we all know who just went to go and work for Tether, right? Bo Hines, the crypto guy for the government. It's fantastic, right? He was there. He's in the government. Now he's at Tether. Now they're going to have this special USAT token. It's great. They love Bitcoin. They love Bitcoin. Tether loves Bitcoin. Of course. Of course they do. Anyways, okay. Last but not least, guys, this is it. Okay. Here comes 2 hopium charts, okay? We're gonna do just a couple of hopium charts. Because you got to finish the show with some hopium, otherwise everybody gets upset. All right. So first of all, Bitcoin inflows in the last 1.5 years surpassed the first 15 years combined. Granted, you could say that that's because of the what it costs to actually purchase a Bitcoin. Of course, the person has to spend much more money for significantly less Bitcoin. So there's no surprise there. However, this is definitely a trend of, hey, more and more people are getting interested in Bitcoin. More and more people are accumulating Bitcoin. So yeah, I'll take it. I'm a happy camper for this. This is good stuff. Now, here's the chart. This is the one we've all been waiting for. Shout out to the Angry Chihuahua for sharing this with me. And yes, we're going to start it off with this cryptic little post. You haven't seen the best part yet. Get ready, guys. This is the Bitcoin gold chart. The Angry Chihuahua has been looking for this chart for I don't know how long. And this is Bitcoin valued in gold. And take a look. This red line all the way at the top, this red zone. These are cycle tops. Take a look at where we are. Get ready, guys. According to this chart, it's going to be moon time. All right. We're going to moon with that's great. That's inflation. Yeah, sure is. It sure is. It's kind of funny. I remember when I learned about number go sideways, right? There was like a whole group of Bitcoiners that were all about number go sideways. And then it dawned on me, it's like, of course it's number go sideways, because Bitcoin is always one Bitcoin. And all that's happening is that the meter stick is changing, right? Because the dollars keep inflating. So maybe Bitcoin is number go sideways technology. Yeah. Priced in gold, very nice to see, isn't it? I gotta tell you, when I see stuff like that, I get very excited for the next few months. Anyways, guys, that is all we are gonna talk about today. Thank you very much for joining me. I will be back tomorrow, same time, more signal without the slop. Take it easy, guys. Have a great rest of the day.